Okay, negative slope. On your own, pause the video, plot the points, and graph the line. Go ahead and label the values as well. As you see, we're dealing with negative slope, and our line is decreasing. And even though these have grown practiced, we're going to rewrite the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Treating either of these as 2 and then 1, we're going to go in the same order though. But I'm in the habit of always doing the last at the start. So here's negative 2 minus 1. And then here is negative 1 minus a negative 4. Again, I write my negative higher, change them to pluses, and then once I do negative 2 minus 1, I get negative 3 over a positive 3, which is just negative 1. And there's a number of different spots where we could make mistakes, so it's a good idea to maybe see if it works to where I'm counting down 1 over 1, and it seems like that's accurate. The other way, you could do the problem in the reverse direction and see if you get the right answers. But, make sure that scan through, those were both the y's. Scan through, you see the 4 and the 1. But like I said, a lot of areas where you could get tripped up. But I have a negative slope and a decreasing line. And if I compare with a buddy from class, I feel pretty good about it. Go ahead and make this an OYO problem. I'm just going to put the answer up for you to check. There's the work. I didn't bother graphing it, but you will have. So make sure that you have a negative slope and that it agrees with your picture. This will also be an OYO. And then notice that these exceed at the graph. But if I ever had a graph that were to stop at 10, which this one doesn't, there would be 2, 4, 5. I might just make a little tick mark above that area. But sometimes it's nice to change your increments to where instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd be like, well, this is 2, 4, 6, and then 8. But I'm going to put up only the math for finding slope right now. At the final step, you might have been tempted to box 8 over negative 5, if that's what you got. But instead of that, rewrite it one more time and change it to negative 8 over 5. What is always going to be most common is to see that negative is going to be attached in the numerator, and I can't simplify this any further, so I'm going to box negative 8/5. And the reason it's nice to see this attached to the numerator is it suggests the idea that it goes down 8 for every 5 that it runs. Whereas if I kept the positive up top, it might get a little bit misleading and confusing. We'll deal with zero slope. And go ahead and plot these 2 points. I'll put it up in just a moment. Okay, so we are told that this is going to be zero slope, and as I've graphed this and you've done the same, I'm going to show you, imagine if you were to place a ball here, and you weren't going to push it in either direction. Well, it looks like there's no slope at all to this line. It's not like it would fall down the hill in that direction, or fall down the hill in this direction. So this has no slope. And graphically, since we can tell that it's 0, go ahead and just write m equals 0, so that you're saying, hey, the slope's going to be 0. But, a lot of these problems will only be given coordinates, so we should do this the long way too. Again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x sub 1. Drop an equal sign there. I'm going to start here, so I'm going to write 2 minus, and then end here. 2. Because I started on the right side, I'll do it the same way this time. Negative 1, and then minus 1. Which means that I end up with 0 over negative 2, or just 0. And that would be your answer, m equals 0. You'd say it has no slope. This is going to be an OYO problem. I'm not even going to go through it, but at the end, if you got something other than m equals 0, you're going to need to check your work. Make sure you graph it as well. And the same deal here, we got some negatives going on. Let's make this an OYO. I'm going to put my work up and briefly talk about it. Now, the only reason I wanted to put my work up is to show, well, keep an eye out for the minus and negative, because negative 2 turns into negative 2 plus 2, which gives you 0. And then 0 minus a negative 4 gives you 4, which is really just 0. And then box. So there you go.